Hello everyone, we are here in Columbus, Ohio at the Camp Chase Confederate Cemetery. Right here. This cemetery has about 2,000 graves of just Confederate soldiers. Now, if you're wondering why the heck is there a Confederate cemetery in the north in Ohio, this is located on the southwestern side of Columbus. This place during the Civil War served as a training camp for Ohio regiments and the Union soldiers trained here. Future President James A. Garfield, Rutherford B. Hayes, and William McKinley trained here before going into the war. This also served as a prison for the Confederate soldiers when the Ohio regiments would go down and capture Confederate soldiers from the South in the battles. They'd bring them back up here and put them in the prison. And these graves right here are all Confederate soldiers that died in the prison, because at the time when they died, they couldn't get their bodies shipped down to the South because the war was still going on when all these guys died. So they just buried him on the camp. And this place is called Camp Chase. You gotta read the Ohio Historic Marker. Camp Chase. Stupid cars. Oh my God, it's a highly populated area. There's a Wendy's over there, guys. All right, Camp Chase was a Civil War camp established in May of 1861 on the land leased by the U.S. government. 4 miles west of Columbus, the main entrance was on the National Road. Boundaries of the camp were present-day Broad Street to the north, Hadge Street to the east, Sullivan Avenue to the south, and near Westgate Avenue to the west. Named for former Ohio Governor and Lincoln Secretary of the Treasury, Salmon P. Chase. He is actually buried in Spring Grove, believe it or not. And for those of you that have been watching this channel for a while, you know what Spring Grove is. Anyway, yes, Salmon P. Chase. It was a training camp for Ohio soldiers, and a apparel camp, a muster outpost, and a prisoner of war camp. As many as 150,000 Union soldiers and 25,000 Confederate prisoners passed through its gates from 1861 to 1865. By February of 1865, over 9,400 men were held at the prison. More than 2,000 Confederates are buried in the Camp Chase Cemetery. Continue. 4 future presidents passed through the Camp Chase. Andrew Johnson, Rutherford B. Hayes, James A. Garfield, and William McKinley. We've seen the graves of 3 of those guys. Both from Ohio. Andrew Johnson's from Tennessee. Yet to visit his grave, but he's apparently here. Which is really weird because he was the vice president at the time, so I don't know. Or no, he wasn't. No. It was Hannibal Hamlin. He was Lincoln's second term, the end of the war. And Confederates captured during Morgan's raid in 1863 included General Basil Duke. General Duke were also captured during the Morgan's raid of 1863. For those of you that don't know what Morgan's raid was, it was there was a Confederate general named General Morgan. He basically swept through southern Ohio and burnt down buildings for food. He went through all the southern towns, including Ulysses S. Grant's hometown, Georgetown, Ohio. All those towns down there he swept through, and I guess they captured one of the generals and brought him up here to Camp Chase. The camp was closed in 1865, and by September of 1867, dismantled buildings. Usable items of 450 patients from the Tripler Military Hospital, also in Columbus, were transferred to the National Soldiers' Home in Dayton. In 1895, former Union soldier William Noss organized the first memorial service to the cemetery, and in 1906 wrote a history of the camp. In 1902, the memorial arch was dedicated. That right there was built in 1902. From 1912 to 1994, the United Daughters of the Confederacy held annual services on the Hilltop Historical Society. Now sponsors the event on the first Sunday in June. All right, let's go check it out. No pets allowed. I didn't bring Lydia today, so she wouldn't be allowed to come if she came. She's actually sitting in the car over there. We parked our car over there at the old Dairy Whip over there. So, let's see what we got. So I brought this map here. Let's go check out the arch. So, let's give you guys a little bit of background on the Civil War. I got this map Marlene got me for Christmas. Right here. So, this is all the states right here. So, you had the Confederate States of America. Right when Lincoln got elected, the southern states just seceded from the nation and formed their own country called the Confederate States of America. And those states included Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee. And those are all the people buried here, or from this part of the country. There's no one from the North. Every other state was Union state, including Ohio. We're about right here. This shows all the battles, by the way. There were a few border states. You had Missouri, Kentucky, West Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware who had slaves, but they didn't secede. So everyone buried here was a prisoner at this site. And they were from one of these states down here. No one from up here is in the Union. The Union were mainly all these states. You had the eastern New England states. You had Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, and I think Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Kansas. South Dakota, Nebraska, and Oklahoma weren't states yet. And then you have Oregon and California who were kind of just hanging out there. They really didn't have any involvement in the Civil War. Anyways, so here's all the battles. So there actually people were buried here into September of 1865, but Robert E. Lee surrendered to Grant in April of 1865. However, there were still battles going on past that point, because you can see here the last battle was the in Townsend, Oklahoma, fought in June of 1865. So that's how that goes. Basically, 2,000 soldiers died on these grounds. Let's walk through. 2,000 soldiers died on these grounds. From the winter of 1863 to 1864, there was a big smallpox plague that went through the camp, and it killed hundreds of Confederate soldiers buried here. So if we check out some of these graves right here, you see right here, this guy is from the 28th Alabama Regiment. That guy's from the 21st Virginia. So they're all from southern states. Tennessee, Alabama, 28th Tennessee, the 57th Alabama, 22nd Virginia. This guy's from Maryland. That's kind of weird. But at the beginning of the war, at least, a lot of the soldiers buried here were from Kentucky and Western Virginia. Because West Virginia wasn't a state until the middle of the Civil War. It became a state. Eventually what would become West Virginia. Again, they didn't secede, but there were a few people that lived in those states that wanted to. But the whole state in itself didn't secede. So they captured some of the people that had secession thoughts of secession. So they captured them, brought them up here. A lot from Tennessee, Virginia, conscription. These are a lot of these guys are soldiers that enlisted soldiers. There are a few officers. There's a section over there for just officers, very low-ranking officers like first lieutenants and stuff like that. But you have again this guy from just a Confederate infantry. They don't know what. Oh, here's a Mississippi, 7th Mississippi. Again, just so you guys know, these guys are all Americans too. They were brothers, sons, fathers, uncles, friends, and they died during the war, and their bodies were never brought back to their home, and they were buried up here. Kind of sad. So you have Alexander Furrow, 8th Virginia, died on January 28th, 1865. So the war was almost over when that guy died. Not yet, dude. All right, let's check out the orange. Let's go check out some of the sunflowers in a sec. Also, the graves at these veteran cemeteries, the graves are nice and neat. All right, so here's the arch. I'm not sure who that guy's supposed to be. Maybe just a soldier. This was built in 1902 to. It was added later as a monument when the cemetery was given historical significance. We got a Kentucky regiment right here, and then a North Carolina over here. 2 new states haven't showed up yet. Some of these get like, this guy was a sergeant, so he gets a nicer grade than the other guy, and he was from Mississippi. We're going over here. I'm not going to read all this, but you can see some of this stuff. Some of the photos from the camp. This was a picture of the camp in 1864. And then this is in the North Alton Confederate Cemetery Monument in 1909. I don't know where that's at, but they redecorated some of the Confederate graves in Arlington. 3 years later, McKinley. Here's a quote from McKinley. Florida. Don't see too much Florida stuff. See if we find Arkansas, Texas. I think it's or South Carolina. I think those are the only ones we haven't found yet. Oh, there's Arkansas. Over there, 23rd Arkansas. Mississippi. A lot of Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama. Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Virginia, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida. There's South Carolina. It's the first South Carolina. There wasn't, I think that's about all the states that were in the South. I don't think we'll see any Texas, because we weren't really involved in the war. Oh, there's Louisiana. Completely forgot about Louisiana. There you go. I think we found all the states, all the Confederate states. We found someone from every state. This section over here. Oh, Texas. 6th Texas Cavalry. Okay, so these are all. This section's over here is for like really low-ranking officers. This is not like a. From a good thing. Saw in a video. So you got like first lieutenants over there, and yeah, they put the exact date of their death on there. They died in 1862, so the war was still early on, honestly. Yeah, you got this little outhouse. All right. By the way, it's like 12 degrees right now, so keep that in mind. Maryland grave over there. I guess they still capture the border states secessionists. Still captured and brought up here. A lot of Tennessee, a lot of Alabama. Louisiana. All right. Oh, there's a dead bird over there. Look at this up here. I'm not gonna go up there. See this? Okay, by the way, guys, there's no famous graves here. That's why I'm not really talking about people buried here. These are just all enlisted soldiers that just died on the camp, died here in the prison camp. That guy over there, he's in the graves. Alright, so check this out. This is really cool. They got this little front. This is a cannonball that was fired at the Battle of Vicksburg on February 3rd, 1863. This is so great. Dude, that's so cool to be able to touch that. Alright, and if you look at the map, you can see where that was at. Hold on. Hands are freezing. Mississippi, Vicksburg right there. Vicksburg campaign. That's where it was fought, in Mississippi. And it was brought back up here. That's sweet. Great picture. Alright. That short cemetery tour. I want to thank you guys for watching. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe. And I'm going to try to make these monthly cemetery tours this year. Instead of doing like every few months, I'm going to try to do them monthly. This is just the first one this year. Hopefully I can get them more in. But be sure to smash that like button if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Whack.